Hey y'all, Bennett here. Oh, let me turn the volume up. I think I have it up actually. I'll turn it up even more. Hey, if you can't hear me, just type something in the chat and let me know. But I should have everything good to go here. Thanks for joining me today for this Q&A. I've got some questions written down to answer, but if you have anything that you would like answered, I can just type that in the chat box and I can give you an answer for it. And I already got a question from Eamon Malandi, and I wanted to address that because that's a really, really good question. There are only a limited amount of licks I can memorize and use while jamming. Why spend 8 hours and $97 to learn more? What is different this time? And that's a great question because, yeah, I mean, ultimately, like, you can only learn so many things. But as a musician, and I can speak to this as a professional musician, you get to a point where you're not really trying to cram these like little bite-sized, licks into your song or into your repertoire. It's more of a kind of wider scope of what the song is and where variety can come up in the song. And that's really what we're kind of diving into here in LickFest. It's more about the understanding of how to build a lick and how to build variety into the song rather than just learning a bunch of new licks and being able to put them into the repertoire that you already know. So it's not about just like learning and repeating something, although, all the stuff will be there for you to do that. If you do like one of these licks that we come up with during the calls, then the tablature will be there and the lick being played fast and slow will be there, as well as the context of the song. So it's really not about learning 20 licks from this festival. It's really about learning the process of building a lick, building in variation within a tune, and being able to come up with those variations eventually on the fly. And I've done 2 recorded sessions already, one with Sarah Jarosz and Jeff Picker, and one with Sam Grisman yesterday. And I'm going to meet up with Billy Failing today. He's in Asheville for the Billy Strings shows. And the sessions that we've done have been very, very cool. We've come up with these melodies that are really interesting and unique to each artist. Like Sarah and Jeff's were way different than what Sam and I came up with, and then we created variations on that. So you really get to see this process of what professional musicians go through to come up with different variations and arrangements on tunes. All right, I've talked a lot about that. So Eamon, I hope that answers your question. Please, type in the chat box if you have another question for me regarding that or anything else. So I've got some questions here, and I'll just go through them. And if you have questions, just type them in the chat box. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you understand the difference. Good. So LickFest is for. So who is LickFest for? Well, and this was building this and also building Banjo Licks is kind of interesting because Banjo Licks, in a way, is for intermediate players that want to build in variations into their playing and learn about bluegrass vocabulary. I kind of look at bluegrass and music as different types of languages, and so Banjo Licks originated as this like kind of intermediate / advanced tool, and I want to make it more available for beginners. And so LickFest was kind of made in this idea that we can reach the intermediates and advanced because we're going to be talking about sometimes theoretical things will come up that beginners, it's going to be over your head. But the real core of LickFest is the process and seeing these professional musicians. It's really pretty entertaining to like do, actually for me, in my experience, to do this with artists that I admire and I work with. And it's a fun process to create something new on the spot. It's sometimes messy, it's sometimes confusing, but it's totally real. And it's a very cool thing to witness. And it's going to be like a small, 25-minute, 30-minute window of each artist diving into this process. And I think it's going to be unique in that it's really beneficial for everybody to watch. Those that want to learn the licks and those that just want to kind of explore the process behind coming up with variations and licks for bluegrass repertoire. So there's inspiration, and there's also like the practical, I get these licks that I can take and work into my playing if I want a new boost of creativity. What will the format look like? Well, I've already talked about that a little bit. So the format of LickFest is going to be these artist sit-downs where I'm going to be on a Zoom call with these artists, and we're going to, first, I'm going to prompt them with a 2-bar melody, and that 2-bar melody will be their kind of writing tool. They'll take that 2-bar melody and then write something off of that. So hopefully my melody will flow into their melody, and then they'll write 2 bars, and then I'll write 2 bars, and we'll have a 6 to 8 bar kind of tune to work with, an A section of a fiddle tune. Some of it might be more vocal sounding, like vocal song sounding, but we'll have some framework to work with. And then once we have that framework, we'll come up with, we'll choose a spot. I've been asking the artists, okay, so where does it feel like where does it feel most appropriate to put a lick into this melody that we've created? And the artist usually picks a very intuitive spot that they feel it's going to be best for a variation, and we look at that and we come up with a variation, or they come up with a variation for that spot in the melody. So once we have that variation, I'm throwing a lot at them. I'm realizing this on the previous calls that I've done, that the artists are sometimes they don't remember the original melody, so we have to play it a few times, and that's kind of fun to like just jog our memories and remind the users or the participants that there's also going to be some variations in the song. But once we have that lick variation, then we take it and we take that one lick, 2-bar phrase. Sometimes it's a little bit longer, sometimes a little shorter, and we put it into a context of a bluegrass song. So with Jeff and Sarah, we did John Hardy and Hand Me Down My Walking Cane, and with Sam we did Sitting on Top of the World. And so you can see how this lick that we came up with in the past 20 minutes of working together can be applied directly to a bluegrass standard, which is kind of a cool process. And all the artists that I've done it with have been like, whoa, that's an interesting exercise, kind of fun. So it's a really fun format. It could be, I asked them, what are your favorite licks, bluegrass licks. But I talked to Jeff and Sarah about that, and they were like, well, we don't really know. It's like they've done that in the past of learning licks and vocabulary and phrasing, and they're more in the kind of the creative phase of their careers, and so they're not focusing on licks. Maybe they'll play a lick here or there in the moment, but they don't really recognize that it's a lick per se. I think I have a failing on the 5. Hey, Anthony. He said, just dropping in to let you know I think this is a very cool idea, and I hope it works for you and everybody else involved. Thanks, Anthony. Good to see you here. I hope it does too. I think it's already working. Like the calls that I've done with Jeff and Sarah and Sam have been really good, and I'm meeting up with Billy Failing today, so that's going to be really fun. That's going to be in person. So there's a couple of these I get to do in person. My main message for you today is that you continue to be an incredible resource for the bluegrass banjo community. Please keep it up. This format is fascinating. I hope to make the time to join. Absolutely, man. Well, I'm glad that you enjoy the stuff that I've been putting out. It's enjoyable for me to do it, and this Banjo Licks website and learning platform has been a really fun way for me to share what I think is really important to learn on the 5-string banjo. So thanks for saying that, man. Let's go on to the next question. Is it performances or teaching? I kind of went over that. It's less teachy and more performy, but it's really just like kind of a creative exercise for the artists. And so it's not really either. What if you can't make a session? If you can't make a session, all the sessions will be recorded and they will be available afterwards, along with tablature for all of the licks that we create during the sessions. So that will be sent out within a week after LickFest ends on that Sunday. So even if you can't make one session, even if you can't make LickFest at all, it's worth it, I think, to sign up and get your ticket and get your access to everything, all the content afterwards, sent to your inbox. David said, joined LickFest a few weeks ago and really looking forward to it. And the acorn, I don't know what that means, but I'm looking forward to it too. And then, he's changing his message. Message retracted. What other things does LickFest get me? So we've bundled in a few different kind of bonuses into LickFest, meaning everybody that buys a ticket gets a 30-day Banjo Licks membership. I'm working on some sponsorships, so there's going to be some giveaways. I'm definitely going to do some hat giveaways and some t-shirt giveaways. Working on some other things right now. But yeah, you'll get the recordings, you'll get the tablature. It's really like, in my opinion, like I think it's a great deal for hanging out and learning from and diving into the processes of these 16 artists. I think it's a great deal for what you're getting over the weekend. Yeah, I mean, those are the questions, the main questions I wanted to answer today. I'll wait for a few more minutes and see if there's any other questions to come through the chat. But that's all I got for today. Rick, good question. The recordings will be available forever. So my plan is to make them available to watch online, but also I want to give everybody a link to download them to their device so they can actually own these recordings that they paid for. And that's going to be through Google Drive or Dropbox. I think it'd be fun. Eamon, your question is, do we need our banjo or just to listen? I think that if you have your banjo on you, you can kind of like play along and mess around with the ideas that we are working with. It's not going to be like Zoom where every participant is on the screen. It's going to be kind of like this format where there's going to be a chat box and then the artists and I are going to be on the screen talking. And if you have something that you want to ask, or if you want to chat in the chat box with other participants, there's going to be that option for you. It's not going to be seeing everybody on the screen. I think that can get distracting sometimes. But I think bring your banjo. Definitely have your banjo like with you, next to you, on your lap, and ready if you are inspired to play along or try one of the things that we're working with. David said, signed up a few weeks ago and really looking forward to the lessons in the tab. The list of artists is very impressive. Great idea and concept. Yeah, I'm pretty honored that all these artists are down to come on and talk to me about this stuff. I'm working on a couple more really, really special artists. They're all very special, but this one would be amazing if I got them to come on board. Will there be any app needed to download if we want to print the tablature? No, I mean the tablatures are going to be in PDF format. So you'll just need to, open that on your desktop and print it via your printer. Few more minutes. Well, while I'm waiting for questions, why don't I announce the giveaway winners? Because I don't even know if they're on the Q&A right now, and that's fine if they're not. But we have been doing a giveaway for the past 10 days to 2 people. And you're welcome, Eamon. And I have chosen the giveaway winners at random to a random name selector, and so we've selected 2 people: Allison DiStefano and Dennis DeWeedsick. I think that's how you say your last name. I'm sorry if I messed that up, but Allison DiStefano and Dennis DeWeedsick. I'm butchering that last name, I know I am, but I'll email the winners, and for the rest of you that signed up on the giveaway, thank you for doing that. We'll send out a follow-up email with some information about LickFest, and we hope that you join us there. But yeah, this has been fun, just sharing the vision and sharing the ideas behind this, and I really hope everybody here can make it. And if you want to, share it with your friends and on social media. But it's going to be a really fun time. I'm excited about it. Thanks for joining the Q&A, and hope to see you at LickFest.